Why do most people lose power before they ever gain it? Because they reveal too much. Their weaknesses, their plans, their emotions. Today, I'll show you the exact strategy to turn silence and secrecy into a weapon, so sharp that you can win without even fighting. In a world that rewards loud voices and oversharing, the greatest power belongs not to the one who speaks the most, but to the one who reveals the least. History has always been shaped by those who mastered the art of concealment. Today, we uncover how to win everything by revealing nothing. Silence as a weapon power does not always come from strength, wealth, or influence. Often, it is born from something far less visible, far less obvious: silence. To the ordinary mind, silence appears as weakness. People assume that the one who does not speak has nothing to say. But the truth is far more dangerous. The one who controls his tongue controls his fate, while the one who speaks without measure sells his power to whoever is willing to listen. Words are not free. Every word you utter is a coin spent, a piece of your strategy given away. To speak recklessly is to leak your secrets, your weaknesses, your inner fears. Those who lack restraint believe that speech will gain them trust, sympathy, or admiration. They think that sharing every thought makes them appear honest, but honesty is often nothing more than self-sabotage. The man who reveals too much becomes predictable, and the predictable man can be conquered. Silence, however, is a fortress. When you remain silent, others do not know your true intentions. They cannot measure your ambitions, nor can they anticipate your next move. This uncertainty creates confusion, and confusion creates hesitation. In that hesitation lies your advantage. People do not attack shadows, they attack what they can see. By staying silent, you remain the shadow, untouchable, ungraspable, and dangerous. Consider how silence unsettles even the boldest opponent. When you do not answer their questions, they invent answers themselves. They fill the silence with their own fears and doubts. They imagine threats where none exist, or they overestimate your strength. This is the beauty of silence. It forces others to fight ghosts of their own making, while you stand untouched. In politics, in war, in personal relationships, silence has always been the unseen weapon. Leaders who mastered the art of withholding their words often rose higher than those who shouted their intentions to the world. A ruler who reveals his plans invites sabotage. A rival who announces his strategy prepares the battlefield for his own defeat. But the man who keeps silent controls the timing, the execution, and the outcome. Silence is also a mirror. When you say nothing, people often reveal themselves in the empty space you create. They cannot bear the weight of silence, so they rush to fill it with their own words. And in their rush, they expose their desires, their insecurities, their hidden intentions. They speak too much, and in doing so, they hand you the very weapons you need to control them. The wise know that the less you speak, the more others will speak to you, and the more information they will unknowingly surrender. Silence also magnifies your presence. A man who speaks constantly is like noise in the background, ignored and forgotten. But a man who speaks rarely, and only with purpose, commands attention. When silence is your habit, your words, when finally spoken, cut deeper and strike harder. People listen because you have trained them to understand that if you speak, it must matter. Thus, silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. It is the sharpening of the blade before the strike. There is also power in denying others the satisfaction of your voice. The world thrives on reactions. Enemies provoke you, rivals insult you, and manipulators try to draw out your emotions. If you answer them, you give them what they want. If you stay silent, you starve them of their victory. Nothing weakens an opponent more than realizing that their attacks cannot move you, that their words vanish into a void. Silence is the strongest reply to the weak, for it proves that their existence is too insignificant to merit acknowledgement. Do not mistake silence for passivity. Silence is not retreat, it is strategy. The man who holds his tongue is not powerless. He is waiting. He observes, calculates, and studies while others waste their energy revealing themselves. Silence is a weapon of patience. It is the steady hand that waits until the enemy grows tired, careless, and desperate. Then, when the moment is right, silence ends, and the strike begins. By then, the enemy has already lost. because they revealed everything while you revealed nothing. Those who cannot master silence often mistake noise for influence. They believe that if they do not speak, they will be forgotten. But influence does not come from being loud. It comes from being remembered. And nothing is more memorable than the figure who speaks little but acts with decisive force. History does not remember the chatter of the court. It remembers the ruler who chose his words with precision and left silence where others wasted breath. Silence is also freedom. When you do not reveal your thoughts, no one can chain you with them. You remain flexible, uncommitted, and adaptable. The moment you speak a plan, you are bound to it. Others will hold you accountable. Enemies will look for flaws, and rivals will seek to sabotage it. But when you keep your intentions hidden, you retain absolute freedom to change, to adapt, and to strike in unexpected ways. Silence protects your future by ensuring that no one can predict it. Above all, silence is respect. Respect for your own power. To reveal everything is to diminish yourself, to place your value in the hands of others. To stay silent is to declare that your thoughts are not cheap, that your words are too valuable to be squandered. Those who speak too often sell themselves for attention, but those who remain silent force the world to come to them, to wait for them, to crave what they withhold. Mystery creates fear and respect. Power is rarely given to the one who is fully understood. Men respect what they cannot explain and fear what they cannot predict. The more transparent you become, the less authority you hold, because people reduce you to something they can measure, categorize, and control. Mystery, on the other hand, elevates you above ordinary men. It makes you untouchable, not because you are invincible, but because no one truly knows where to strike. When people cannot read you, they invent their own stories about you. They fill the empty spaces with their own assumptions, and in doing so, they create an image of you that is often larger, darker, and more powerful than the truth itself. This is the advantage of mystery. You allow others to exaggerate your strength, to inflate your capabilities, and to believe in shadows that do not exist. And in their fear of those shadows, they act cautiously, even submissively, toward you. Fear and respect are twins born from uncertainty. A man who is entirely known cannot command either. If people know your limits, they know how far they can push you. If they know your weaknesses, they know how to wound you. If they know your desires, they know how to control you. Transparency is a cage. Once you are fully understood, you are already defeated. But mystery removes those limits. It forces others to remain alert, to treat you as if you may be more dangerous than you truly are. And in their caution, they give you the upper hand. Consider the silence of a predator before it strikes. The victim does not fear only the attack, but the uncertainty of when it will come, how it will come, and from which direction. This uncertainty is what paralyzes them. Mystery works in the same way. It freezes your opponents in hesitation. They cannot prepare for what they do not understand, and by the time they act, it is already too late. Mystery also creates distance, and distance creates reverence. Familiarity breeds contempt because the closer people get to you, the more ordinary you seem. They notice your flaws, your contradictions, your vulnerabilities. But when you wrap yourself in mystery, you deny them that closeness. You become unreachable, and the unreachable always inspires awe. Kings and rulers understood this truth. The throne was not only built on power, but on mystique. If the ruler lived among his subjects as one of them, he would be mocked and diminished. But when he shrouded himself in ritual, secrecy, and distance, he became more than a man. He became a figure, an idea, a legend. This principle does not only belong to rulers. It belongs to anyone who seeks power. In your own life, mystery magnifies you. Do not always reveal where you are, what you think, or what you intend. Keep people guessing. Let them believe that your silence hides vast knowledge. Let them wonder why you do not react. Let them invent reasons for your confidence. The more questions you plant in their minds, the more they will respect you without realizing why. Mystery also makes your presence heavier. Imagine a man who constantly explains himself, justifying his every action, defending his every choice. He becomes small because he gives everything away. Now imagine a man who acts without explanation, whose motives are hidden, whose reasoning remains unknown. He becomes immense because people cannot weigh him down with certainty. They see only his actions, never the full intention behind them. That veil of mystery transforms even ordinary deeds into something calculated and deliberate. Enemies especially fear mystery. An enemy who cannot predict you will hesitate to challenge you. If they know your strategy, they will prepare against it. If they know your goals, they will undermine them. But if you move in silence, concealing your true aims, they are left blind. They strike at illusions, wasting their strength, while you advance unseen. The unknown weakens even the strongest rival, because no one can fight a shadow with confidence. Respect, too, is drawn from mystery. Men do not admire the one who lays his entire soul bare. They admire the one who withholds, who leaves something hidden behind the curtain. To be admired, you must never be fully understood. Let people see only fragments of you, enough to spark curiosity, but never enough to satisfy it. The unknown is more compelling than the known, and people respect what they cannot fully grasp. Mystery is also a shield. The less people know about you, the less they can use against you. Those who expose themselves entirely provide enemies, with every weapon needed for their downfall. But the mysterious man walks protected, his inner life locked away, his true intentions invisible. He denies his enemies the map to his destruction. Mystery, therefore, is not merely concealment. It is construction. It is the art of building an image that suggests more than it shows. It is allowing others to project greatness onto you, while you quietly shape reality in your favor. And once that aura is established, it feeds itself. People speak of you in whispers. They exaggerate your abilities. They fear your silence. And they respect your distance. Control the narrative by concealment power is never just about what is true. It is about what people believe to be true. The strongest rulers, the most cunning minds, the individuals who rise above the ordinary, these are not merely masters of action, but masters of perception. They understand that reality can be bent, not through force alone, but through the control of narrative. And the greatest way to control the narrative is by revealing nothing. When you conceal, you create space for others to imagine, and imagination is often far more powerful than fact. Every word you reveal, every detail you expose, limits the story others can build about you. The man who explains himself too much becomes small, defined, and ordinary. But the one who conceals allows others to weave myths, suspicions, and theories around him. These myths grow larger than the truth, shaping how people view you, how they treat you, and how they fear or respect you. This is the secret. Concealment does not silence the story, it multiplies it. By saying less, you allow others to say more, and in their endless speculations, you gain control without lifting a finger. Men crave certainty. They want to categorize you, to know your intentions, to reduce you into something they can handle. When you deny them this certainty, when you refuse to reveal your inner workings, they grow uneasy. And in that unease, they begin creating their own stories. One will believe you are planning something grand. Another will suspect you of plotting something dangerous. And yet another will imagine you are indifferent to them entirely. All of them will be wrong. And yet all of them will act as if their version of you is the truth. That is the beauty of concealment. You let others write the script, and then you watch as they play their roles exactly as you wish. To control the narrative, you must learn restraint. Do not reveal your plans until they are already beyond interference. Do not expose your weaknesses because once spoken, they are no longer weaknesses. They are weapons in the hands of your enemies. Do not justify yourself for explanations invite doubt. Instead, remain silent, reveal little, and force others to interpret your actions. Their interpretations will always reveal more about them than about you, and in knowing them, you gain leverage, while in concealing yourself, you remain untouchable. Concealment also allows you to project strength where there is none. When people do not know the truth, they assume, and men, by their nature, often assume the worst. If you do not show your limitations, they will imagine you have none. If you do not reveal your resources, they will believe you have more than you possess. If you do not announce your strategy, they will expect that you have a master plan too dangerous to oppose. Their fear becomes your armor. Their respect becomes your foundation. You do not need to prove yourself when others are already convinced of your power. But concealment is not the same as invisibility. To control the narrative, you must still give hints, fragments, and illusions. Offer just enough to spark curiosity, but never enough to satisfy it. A shadow is only powerful when there is light behind it. Too much darkness, and people lose interest. Too much light, and the shadow vanishes. The balance is in partial revelation, carefully chosen, deliberately vague. A gesture, a phrase, a calculated silence. These are tools more powerful than entire speeches. Control also comes from timing. If you reveal something, do it when it benefits you most, not when others demand it. The man who answers every question becomes a servant to the curiosity of others. The man who withholds answers becomes a master, for people will wait, speculate, and beg for what he chooses not to give. This waiting feeds your power, because anticipation is stronger than revelation. People respect what they must wait for. They fear what they cannot know immediately. They admire what is revealed sparingly, like treasure hidden in the depths of the earth. Concealment also allows you to reinvent yourself at will. When people know little about you, you are free to change direction without being accused of contradiction. They cannot call you inconsistent if they never knew your original plan. They cannot trap you in your own words if you never spoke them. Silence and secrecy make you flexible, able to shift, adapt, and redefine yourself endlessly, while others remain chained to the identities they revealed too quickly. Consider how rumors spread when information is scarce. One small act, left unexplained, can give rise to endless speculation. A sudden disappearance, a calculated absence, a cryptic word left hanging in the air. These create ripples that magnify your presence, even when you are not there. People speak about you because you have given them nothing definite to hold on to. In their hunger for answers, they keep your name alive, building the legend for you. By concealing, you multiply your voice through the voices of others. Controlling the narrative through concealment also weakens your rivals. Those who cannot read you will often expose themselves in desperation. They will make assumptions, act on false beliefs, and reveal their fears openly. Their own behavior becomes predictable while you remain unpredictable. This imbalance is the foundation of dominance, knowing more about others than they know about you. Information is the battlefield, and concealment ensures that you are always fighting from higher ground. Predict others, stay unpredictable. The game of power is not won by chance. It is won by calculation, by foresight, by the ability to read men as one reads an open book. The one who can predict others but refuses to be predicted himself holds the greatest advantage. To know the desires, fears, and weaknesses of others while concealing your own makes you a master of the board, while the rest remain pieces moved by invisible hands. Every man believes himself unique, yet all men follow patterns. Their ambitions, their envy, their greed, their love of flattery. These are not mysteries, but habits repeated across centuries. The wise observe these habits and learn to anticipate them. Watch a man's reactions, listen to his words, study how he responds under stress, and soon his character will be revealed in full. When you can predict a man's decisions before he makes them, you own him, because his freedom becomes nothing more than a path you already foresaw. But while you master the patterns of others, you must never allow yourself to become predictable. Predictability is a weakness. It is a declaration that your mind is open for all to read, that your actions can be anticipated and countered. Once people can guess your moves, they will plot against you with confidence. To remain powerful, you must be unreadable. Your actions must appear deliberate but not foreseeable, calculated but never routine. This balance keeps you beyond reach, while others expose themselves with every step they take. Predicting others begins with listening more than speaking. The fool speaks endlessly, but the wise remain silent, gathering knowledge. In conversation, do not rush to reveal your own thoughts. Instead, let others expose theirs. Ask small questions, drop subtle remarks, and observe carefully how they respond. Most men are desperate to be understood, and in their eagerness, they reveal too much. From their tone, from their hesitation, from the words they choose and the words they avoid. You will learn what they fear and what they crave. This is the essence of prediction, to know not only what a man says, but what he dares not say. It is also through conflict that a man's truth is revealed. Watch how someone reacts to insult, to rejection, to loss. Some will collapse under pressure. Some will rage blindly. Some will retreat into silence. Their reactions will tell you everything you need to know about their character. Once you have mapped their tendencies, they become a puppet whose strings you can pull. You know what words will anger them, what temptations will seduce them, and what fears will paralyze them. Their future becomes predictable because their past and their present have already written the script. Yet, while you read others, you must guard yourself against being read. You must break patterns, avoid habits, and resist the temptation of consistency. Consistency is comfortable but deadly. It makes you reliable, and reliability makes you vulnerable. Instead, cultivate unpredictability. One day, be generous, the next, be ruthless. At times, show warmth at others, withdraw into cold indifference. Let no one ever be certain of your next step. Confusion is a weapon, and unpredictability keeps that weapon sharpened. Even in small actions, unpredictability commands respect. A man who never reacts the same way twice becomes a puzzle others cannot solve. They hesitate to provoke him, because they do not know if they will be met with forgiveness or fury. They hesitate to trust him, because they do not know if his kindness will last or vanish. And yet, paradoxically, this very uncertainty forces them to respect him, for men respect what they cannot control. To stay unpredictable, you must master self-control. The predictable man is the slave of his emotions. Anger rules him, desire blinds him, pride exposes him. He reacts the same way every time because his emotions rule him, not his reason. To escape this trap, you must detach. Do not let anger dictate your words. Do not let flattery sway your choices. Do not let insult determine your response. Each time you master your emotions, you regain control over your unpredictability. For if no one can provoke you into predictability, you remain free, while they remain trapped in their own impulses. The art of prediction also requires patience. Do not seek immediate answers about people. Let time reveal them. A man will eventually show his true self when he believes no one is watching, when he is tired, when he is pressed by circumstance. Wait, observe, and record. Over time, patterns become obvious, and once patterns are visible, the future is clear. By contrast, when people try to predict you, you must never let time betray you. Break your own routines before they harden. Leave gaps, change direction. Take actions that surprise even those closest to you. In this way, you become unreadable. While they remain transparent, there is also great power in using predictability against others. Once you know how someone will act, you can set traps. Present them with a situation you know they cannot resist, and they will fall into it exactly as you planned. Offer them praise, and they will expose their vanity. Offer them temptation, and they will reveal their greed. Offer them insult, and they will betray their insecurity. Predictability is the leash by which you guide men without their knowledge. The strongest leaders, warriors, and thinkers always operated on these two principles: know others completely, but let no one know you. They built networks of information to understand their rivals, while hiding their own thoughts behind walls of secrecy and gestures of unpredictability. In this way, they ruled not only through strength but through the manipulation of expectation. Those who were predictable became pawns. Those who were unpredictable became legends. Victory through patience and restraint. The greatest defeats are not suffered on the battlefield, but in the impatience of the mind. Men ruin themselves not because they lack strength, but because they lack control. They rush to act, rush to prove themselves, rush to take what they believe is theirs, and in their haste, they expose weaknesses that need not have been revealed. Victory does not belong to the impulsive, it belongs to the patient. Restraint is not weakness. It is the highest form of power, for it is power mastered. Patience is the art of timing. Every opportunity has a season, and the wise understand that to act too soon is as dangerous as acting too late. Impatient men strike at the first chance they see, mistaking it for the best chance. They cannot endure the wait. They cannot resist the temptation, and so they snatch at crumbs while the feast is still being prepared. But the patient man waits until the feast is laid before him, and when he strikes, he takes everything at once. Restraint is the companion of patience. To restrain oneself is to deny the urge to act when every emotion demands it. Anger calls for retaliation, pride calls for display, desire calls for indulgence. But to surrender to these impulses is to abandon control. The one who cannot restrain himself is like a wild animal, dangerous for a moment, but predictable and easily trapped. The one who masters restraint becomes untouchable, for no insult can force his hand, no temptation can bend his will, no enemy can lure him into premature battle. The strongest victories are often silent, achieved not through aggression, but through the refusal to be provoked. Consider how many traps are laid by rivals who seek to drag you into conflict before you are ready. They insult, they taunt, they push, hoping that your pride will betray you. If you answer them, you step into their design. If you restrain yourself, they exhaust their strength against nothing. Restraint denies the enemy their chosen battlefield and forces them to fight on yours, where their plans hold no weight. Patience also amplifies the weight of your eventual strike. A blow delivered in haste is often light and ineffective, but a blow prepared over time gathers strength like a storm. Each moment of waiting sharpens the blade, fortifies your position, and weakens your opponent. By the time you move, your enemy has already eroded through his own impatience, through wasted energy, through careless exposure. Then your strike is not a contest, but an execution. Men are enslaved by their need for immediacy. They cannot endure silence. They cannot endure uncertainty. They cannot endure delay. In negotiations, they rush to fill the void with words. In conflict, they rush to act without calculation. In ambition, they rush to reveal their plans. All this rushing serves those who know how to wait. The patient man allows others to reveal their hands, to commit themselves too early, to expose themselves completely, and then he enters with calm precision, taking what they have already abandoned in their haste. Restraint is also a form of intimidation. When others strike at you with words or actions, and you respond with nothing, they grow uneasy. They expect retaliation, they anticipate a reaction, and when it does not come, their minds begin to work against them. They start imagining punishments greater than anything you could have devised. Your silence becomes a threat. Your restraint becomes a weapon. Fear grows not from the blow that lands, but from the blow that never comes, the one always hanging in the air. Patience teaches you to see not only the present but the inevitable. Most men see only what lies before them, and so they act rashly to seize it. The patient man sees further. He understands that fortunes rise and fall, that alliances shift, that today's enemy may be tomorrow's ally, and today's opportunity may be tomorrow's trap. By waiting, he allows the world to rearrange itself in his favor. His victory does not require force alone. It requires time, and time itself becomes his servant. Restraint also keeps your power concealed. When you act too often, you reveal too much of yourself, your methods, your strengths, your weaknesses. But when you act rarely, with deliberation, no one can truly measure you. Each move becomes unpredictable because it is not part of a visible pattern. Each word becomes significant because it is not wasted among 1,000 others. Restraint ensures that when you do act, the world pays attention because they have learned not to take your actions for granted. Patience is not idleness. It is not sitting passively, waiting for fortune to smile upon you. It is active preparation, the quiet sharpening of weapons, the steady building of influence, the careful observation of others. It is the slow tightening of a net that will one day close with perfect precision. Those who mistake patience for weakness are already trapped, because they believe the stillness of water means there is no depth beneath the surface. Restraint is not denial of power, it is proof of power. Any man can lash out when provoked. Any man can seize when tempted. But the one who can wait, the one who can endure the fire of insult, the pull of desire, the weight of pride without surrendering, he proves that he is master of himself. And the one who masters himself cannot be mastered by others. Power has never belonged to the loudest voice, the most reckless fighter, or the man who reveals himself too easily. It belongs to those who master silence, who cloak themselves in mystery, who control the narrative while saying nothing, who read others while remaining unreadable, and who wait with restraint until the world bends to their timing. These principles are not merely strategies, they are weapons, sharper than steel and more enduring than armies. If you carry them, you will no longer live at the mercy of others. You will command respect, shape fear, and hold authority wherever you walk. But understand this power is not seized in a single moment. It is built step by step, choice by choice, discipline by discipline. Each day you decide whether to expose yourself or to conceal, whether to react blindly or to wait with precision, whether to be like the ordinary or to rise above them. The path has been laid before you. Now it is yours to walk. If you desire more lessons, more hidden truths, and more stories that awaken the strategist within you, then stay with me. Subscribe, and together we will uncover the timeless art of winning without ever being defeated.